Manhattan Prosecutor Jeremy Saland and former federal prosecutor Jennifer Rogers. And I do want to be transparent here. One of the things we're watching for is to see if Donald Trump talks at the courthouse where he is right now in a hearing in the criminal case. Why? Because I suppose it's possible he announces, you know what, we're not coming up with a bond conclusively today. We don't have the money, which means that Attorney General Letitia James is in your court. And then, Jennifer, then what?
Well, the problem here is there are assets all over the place, right? So Tish James has to decide where to go first. Do you go to a bank and you issue a judgment with a bank and try to freeze and then seize a bank account? The real estate takes more time. So it's not even like just one thing where she walks into a clerk's office and plunks down the piece of paper and says, we've done it, right? So what she would do, I suppose, is disperse her people around to the assets she's decided to prioritize, which are going to be, I think, the bank accounts, and they'll start filing the papers. So I think we'll probably hear from her. She'll probably make a statement when she does that, if she does it today, tomorrow, whenever.
Jeremy, this case also, though, is pending because there is an appeal, and they're asking either to just throw it out and say, look, trust him, he's a guy that's got a lot of properties and money, you don't have to worry about this, or to knock down the number. Will the judge, or will she wait to see what happens there? Or do you think that this is something that she's like, we're going for this, this is the 30-day mark. She's already put in a plan to try to seize at least one property.
Absolutely, but I think it would be smarter move to wait if we think a judgment, the appeal is going to be decided in this week or soon thereafter, because you don't want to start that process only to roll it back. So I think, though, that she will go to the banks first because that's easy. You've identified that asset. You can seize that asset. You send in New York City, it would be a sheriff, or you can send a marshal. They take a piece of that pie and the rest of it goes to the state of New York. It's fairly simple, but I think she waits. It would be the smarter move, though certainly politically it would be a big statement if she did it just now.
Jennifer, again, we are waiting to see if Donald Trump chooses to speak as he heads into the criminal court right now. He has said some things over the last several days that raise eyebrows. Number one, he has said he has the money before. I'm wondering when he speaks out loud what he could say that would be a problem going forward.
So we have this appellate division motion, right, where he says, please knock down the amount. We can't do it. It's impossible, his lawyers have said. But then he comes out and says, I have the money. I just would rather spend it on my campaign. So if you're an appellate division judge and you're sitting with this motion saying it's impossible, we can't do it, that has to give you pause about the truth of that, right? So I think it does make it less likely that the court will intervene if he's saying, I have the money, it's just that I want to use it for something else.
And to be clear, he has not put any money towards a campaign yet. So interesting wording there in his Truth Social. I do want to ask you about the case where he is going right now, and he's headed there at this moment. We're watching his car coming up to the courthouse. You know, this has been delayed already till April 15th, but there were 100,000 documents the DOJ sort of held on to, last minute hands them over. His attorneys say, hey, we have to have time to go through this, and they have. What else might cause this to be delayed? Because they're asking not only for a delay, but they're asking for it to be thrown out, as any defense attorney would.
Yeah, I think the biggest issue is the timing. And I know could there be more documents. That 100,000 on its face seems like a lot. It may very well not be a lot. It may not all be relevant. Some of it may be easy to parse through. But I think that's going to be the main thrust of his argument, because we already have a decision. I believe it was March 18th, Mershon issued a decision, and it addressed what we call Molyneux about certain things coming into evidence. So he's already addressed a lot of the substantive issues or underlying issues. So I think today it's just what we've said many, many times, that big D, not Donald, delay, delay, delay.
But what have we learned from this judge so far, Jennifer, in terms of how he's approaching this case in general?
So he's working towards a trial. He issued a terse order when all of this kind of came to light about these documents, saying, if necessary, I will set a trial date after this hearing. But since then, he's ruled on some motions, and he seems to be moving towards a swift trial here. But he's no nonsense. He's very experienced. I think he's a good choice for this trial. Not that he was chosen, it was wheeled out. But it's a good draw, like Judge Kaplan was in the E. Jean Carroll case, because when you have a jury, you have to be very careful about controlling the courtroom and controlling this defendant in particular. I think Judge Mershon's going to be up to that.
You think we'll know by the end of the day the trial date?
I do.
All right, Jennifer Rogers, Jeremy Saland, we are standing by for that. That will be big news when it happens.